Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Welcome in on a Thursday morning. Well, the Utah State Aggies did it. They beat Weber State by 10. Aggies pick up the win, improved to 3-0. Didn't shoot the three very well, but they escape anyway. Weber State, maybe they've got something at the Big Sky level. They gave, obviously, Utah, they could handle, forcing them to overtime at the Huntsman Center. Now they go play the Aggies at the Spectrum, and it's a tough, hard-fought 10-point game. So maybe Weber State is on to something. We'll have to see how that plays out. Of course, in the Big Sky, you need to be on to something in one specific week in March because there's no at-large bids there. So, a year from now, we'll have three teams to follow in the Big Sky with Utah Tech and Southern Utah and Weber State. So that will help us all get focused right there. The Utah Mammoth also played last night, and the Utah Mammoth were in trouble playing the Buffalo Sabres, who are bad. You have to go back 20, 25 years, go back to the turn of the century, maybe the 90s, to find a nice stretch for the Sabres. And the Utah Mammoth are in a rough patch here. They've lost 3 in a row. They've lost 5 out of 6. The Sabres are in last place. The Sabres are terrible. You can't lose to the Sabres at home and lose 4 in a row and 6 out of 7. That is just awful. However, the Sabres scored on their first shot of the game, a little deflected shot there, and then we're up 2-1 going to the third period. And honestly, Vejmelka came up really big with some saves. I mean, he had 3 or 4 real quality saves. Both teams hit the pipe. It could have easily been a 3-1 game. And they could have been in real trouble. But came out in the third period and put 4 goals on the board. And in the end, it looks like a great win. 5-2. You never know they were in so much trouble going to the third period. The Mammoth come back and win at 5-2. They snap the 3-game losing streak. Yes, they are 2-5 in the last 7 games. Yes, both of those are against the Sabres, and they don't get to play Buffalo again this year. But at least they got the point, snapped the streak. We'll see where they go from here. Where we will go from here is directly to the Best of the Mammoth post-game right here on The Zone.
DJ and PK, the Utah Mammoth just needed some Delta Center as they returned home on Wednesday night and beat the Buffalo Sabres 5-2. They scored the final 5 goals of the game after trailing 2-0 in the second period. It was a game where they outshot the Sabres 37-19 and just kept pushing all the way through. Karel Vejmelka now 8-4 on the year and 3-1 after a loss as he made some real timely saves to keep Utah in this contest, especially when it was a 2-0 game before Nick DeSimone got the scoring started just past the halfway point in the contest.
Here's Carcone walking in, pass across to Krause, a little off the mark, slap shot, DeSimone scores! The Buffalo native against his hometown team!
That made it 2-1, and that was our score at the second intermission before head coach Andre Tourney juggled the lines, put J.J. Peterka with Lawson Krause and Jack McBain, and that would result in the equalizer in the first minute of the third.
Now he's a Buffalo Sabre. Peterka down the middle. Peterka shoots and scores! They love him here in Utah. J.J. Peterka scores against his former team to tie the game.
And then 2 minutes and 30 seconds later, Peterka found Krause, and Utah took their first lead of the night, and this would be the game winner.
J.J. Peterka in with Lawson Krause. He scores out of nowhere. Lawson Krause picks the top corner, and it's 3-2. The Mammoth go in front.
During their 7-game winning streak, Utah extended a lead by more than a goal 16 times. But during this stretch of losing 5 of 6 entering the game on Wednesday night, it had been Utah's struggle extending a 1-goal lead to 2. In fact, 7 straight 1-goal Utah leads ended up in tie hockey games without the Mammoth able to extend the lead to 2. That would change in the third period. Nick Schmaltz, his 10th of the year, to make it 4-2.
And they've had their chances. Schmaltz in front, scores! This time they capitalize. Nick Schmaltz reaches 10 goals on the year, and the Mammoth are pouring them in the third period.
And then Captain Clayton Keller found the empty net late, and Utah picks up a 3-goal victory.
Up the wall for Cooley. He can't clear. Smoak ahead for Keller. Keller from center. Scores! Clayton Keller makes it 5 goals in a row, and it's 5-2. Mammoth on top and in charge.
So after finishing a stretch of 8 of 9 on the road and 11 of their first 16 on the season away from Delta Center, Utah returned home on Wednesday to start 6 of their next 8 games at home and came from behind for a 5-2 win. They're now 10-7 and back in that wild card spot in the Western Conference playoff race, 5-1 here at Delta Center. A season high 11 different Utah skaters got in on the scoring in that contest on Wednesday night, including Clayton Keller, JJ Peterka, and Nick Schmaltz, who each had 1 goal and 1 assist. Let's hear from head coach Andre Turney. Heard from him after the game on Wednesday.
That's a good one. I think we played good. I will say all game. Obviously, we could feel the nerve a little bit. The first 2 periods, I think JJ broke the game down when he scored that big goal. I think that was usually from there was a boost of confidence. We knew we were playing well. And I think that tweak in the line, I think, will help a little bit of everybody. I think really happy about the way JJ responded in the third. Crosser and Banner played unbelievable again. And that's about it.
Nick Simone kicks off scoring. Yeah. The blue line continues to be on the score sheet. What did you see out of him and your D-core contributing night at night? Yeah,
Desi is predictable. He gets the puck, he moves the puck, or he moves his feet. The puck doesn't stay still. He's easy to read off, create a momentum, create pace in our game. He get us all connected, and we really like that about him.
I know third periods have been rough for you guys in the past couple of games. Yeah. This one seemed to be better. What do you think you guys did better in this third period compared to the others?
Well, we addressed it this week. One thing is our team is really good at is defending. We defend with a lot of pace, and we force opponent to execute quickly, and that's a strength of us. And lately in the third period, we were not as fast as the same pace, the same pressure. So that was allowing opponent to execute and creating offense. The last 3 games, more than 50% of the offense we gave up. It's in the third period because we were trailing and we're chasing and we're not defending hard enough. And tonight we gave up 0 A's, 0 B's in the third, 0 like none. So we defend hard and we played good with the puck and we defend with pace, and everybody was engaged. Everybody was detailed, resilient, relentless. That was fun to see.
Andre Turney, during that second period when Utah was down 2-0, visibly emotional with the team. And Utah would respond to their coach saying, we just need a little more. We need a little more to break through and snap out of it. And it would be JJ Peterka, acquired from Buffalo in the offseason and then signed to a 5-year contract, who would be the difference maker for the Mammoth in the contest. And we heard from JJ after the contest on Wednesday.
As we talked about on the bench, obviously a 180 in this game. When your team has the ability to react and respond to changes and adjustments, what does it say about this group?
I think, just how much belief there is in each other. Never giving up. We know how good we can be offensively. We know when we're trailing, we can easily come back. So I think just that belief in each other in here.
And what was that emphasis or that conversation going into the third that kind of lit the fire?
Well, we know we got better coming after those 2 periods. I think actually the end of the second was going in the right direction, and just kind of building from that, working harder, winning more battles, and go from there.
Simone's big goal there got things going. What's it like to see a guy like him get on the score sheet tonight?
It's awesome, especially him being from Buffalo. I think even better. I think since he came in the lineup, done a heck of a job for us. Played super solid. So obviously super nice to see him score.
Nick DeSimone hadn't played all year until Sunday night in Ottawa. Picked up an assist, and as we said, got the scoring started in the contest on Wednesday night. Bill Armstrong saying when he signed him over the summer, your seventh defenseman is going to play 55 to 60 games. And boy, has Utah been happy with Simone, who did not play for the first 15 games of the year, but was a big part of the victory on Wednesday and a big insertion into the lineup on Sunday. We heard from Simone after the game.
What can you say about the way this game transpired, and can you give it a definition, I guess, in terms of the 180 turnaround?
I don't know. That's a tough question. Obviously, wasn't our best start, but we stuck with it and kind of kept trying to play our game and kept working on it and fought through a little adversity and then kind of, found a couple shifts in a row and got rewarded for it and just kept rolling after that. After
the stretch that you guys have been on, what do you guys learn about yourselves in a game like this with a lot of adversity to be able to come out with success?
It's big for us to go through this, fight through adversity and kind of claw our way back into one and end up getting a win here. It's definitely a learning moment for us and shows a lot of maturity in our group.
D-Corps has 32 points since mid-October. This group is contributing a lot. How does that help the entire group be able to get these goals, get these points, get these wins?
Yeah, I think, we've talked a lot about us, trying to get more active and get to the middle and get pucks on net. Kind of just reward our forwards for going to the net and taking cross checks. So we're just trying to do our part to get pucks there and, let our forwards kind of start digging down there.
When Utah had won 7 straight games earlier this year, they'd outscored the opposition 12-3 in the third periods. During the stretch where they lost 5 of 6, they were outscored 13-3. A 4-goal third period gets the job done for the Mammoth on Wednesday night. Back home on Friday with the New York Islanders, a 7 p.m. face-off will be on the air right here on the KSL Sports Zone at 6 p.m. with Hockey Night in Utah. Of course, we invite you to join us for Mammoth Daily, Monday through Friday, wherever you get your podcasts. A brand new episode is out this morning. Mike Folta and I recapping the game last night. We'll give you some additional Thursday morning thoughts on that and look ahead to Friday's game against the Islanders. Dom Moore will be with us in our Thursday Expert Series, and we'll take a look at a couple specialty jerseys that you can get your hands on for military appreciation and Hockey Fights Cancer. That's Mammoth Daily, Apple, Spotify, and now on the Utah Mammoth YouTube page. Join Mike and I for that. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Enjoy the rest of DJ and PK, and we'll be back with you here at Delta Center on Friday with the Islanders.
All right, there is the best of the Mammoth postgame. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk college football with David Smoak. He does radio in Waco, home of Baylor. Although, as he points out in this interview, he's much more Big 12 Texas focused now with 4 Big 12 teams, and Waco is not far from TCU. It's not far from Houston. Texas Tech is a bit out there. But as he points out with podcasts, everybody can follow everything everywhere. So his takes on the Utah-Baylor game are interesting, and I think they're right because, I agree with them. Whenever somebody thinks the same thing you think, then you think, oh, that person's really smart. So David Smoak next, and then we'll talk with Carter Chow, Norm Chow's son, who is now an agent based in L.A., and he's got some wild stories about the NIL era. That's coming up. David Smoak is next right here on The Zone. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. A reminder that you can nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at kslsports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. DJ PK, and we are joined now by David Smoak. David, welcome back to the show.
Well, hello. It's good morning. Good little intro music, great promos. I hope you guys are doing well. I know the Utes are turning the corner, so to speak, and trying to get themselves involved in all this, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They are trying to run their way to Dallas. They are, and you've covered college football for a long time. David's on 365 Sports in Waco, Texas, and if I ask you who the top rushing teams are in the country, you're going to go straight to the service academies. They're going to run run the option, and they're going to run the ball forever. And after you get to 2 of the service academies, the third team in the country running the ball is the Utes. There is no trickeration. There's a little deception maybe with are they handing it off in the fly sweep, or are they pulling the ball from the running back? But they just run it at you, run it at you, and run it at you. And so I think question number one as they get ready to go to Baylor is Baylor up for this? Because it looks like that run defense has had a few weeks where they really struggled, and there is zero surprise about what the Utes are going to do.
No, is Baylor ready for it? They're kind of schizophrenic at times, but at the same time, consistently the same. I know that makes no sense, but they have not stopped the run. I know they just had the off week, and before that, they beat UCF 30-3. Honestly, I don't care. They needed to win. They got to find a way to, make sure they get to a bowl game, which is where this program is. Last year they had to make the run from 2-4 to 8-4 to get to a bowl game, and so same thing. They fall behind. They take all this energy to get back in it. A couple of times they've been able to win, but most of the time they just can't have enough gas left. So no, I would expect, and Utah. I think I brought this up, so I'm sorry if I've repeated myself here, but I remember the first time Utah-Baylor played. Utah was, I still think, a non-conference game, and I had somebody explain to me that they thought watching Utah just play the game of football was like trying to play against a big ball of angry razor blades. And they've gotten back to that. Last year, of course, it was a mess for Kyle Whittingham, but no, I don't. Do I expect Baylor to be able to stop the run? No, I don't. They've struggled against whether it's a running quarterback with Jackson Arnold, who's not even playing now for Auburn, and they've also struggled with people just taking the ball and shoving it down their throat. So, and then that should set up obviously the play action for Utah. So I don't expect Baylor's defense to really have the ability to stop the run against it. They don't have enough oomph inside Baylor. They don't have enough bodies inside. So I do not think that unless Utah just has a bad day, that they should be able to pretty much do what they want with a run game.
If I'm just judging on pro style and pro style alone, I think Sawyer Robertson is as good as any quarterback in the conference and what he can do, his ability to drop back. If he's got the time, he's going to not only complete a high percentage, but he's going to spread the ball around. You just look at the receiving yard stats, and they've got 4 guys over 400-plus yards in receiving. A couple guys on the top have some pretty good stats. And it's been this way for a couple years. I never understood why they didn't start him at the beginning of last year. But nevertheless, I think the guy's really good as far as a passer. It boils down to whether he's got time. And Scally dials up these defenses. What he does is he'll make adjustments upon the offense's adjustments. And so he's a real master at calling plays after he sees what the offense has been doing at the line of scrimmage, which is sort of reverse the way it works. But that's how they do it, and they're very good. So the question for you being, how do you think they'll be able to do as far as being able to pick up blitzes and providing the time that Sawyer needs to throw?
It's a great question. And again, just like, can they stop the Utah run game or attack? I don't think they can. I don't know if they'll be able to keep Utah off of Sawyer Robertson. He kind of went through a little funk, and I don't. He was so good so early, even though they lost the game to Auburn, lost a heartbreaker to Arizona State. Sawyer Robertson has been good, but there was a stretch there where I think all of this, not that it was a amount of burden on him, but I said early on, they have to score 35 points a game to have a chance to win a game because they gave up so much on defense. And I know Sawyer Robertson, I asked him one time, guys, early in the year, it just seemed like he wasn't taking off 3 to 4 times a game, which when he does, he could get 8 to 10 or 12 or 15 and pick up a third down and, mid-distance or longer. And I had asked him whether or not he was told not to run. Did anybody on the coaching staff, because he's such value, hey, protect yourself? No, that wasn't it either. Then you wonder, okay, is it because he's trying to protect himself because of what might be in the future for him? That's not his style. I just think he's really good. And as you said, you defined him perfectly. But it's been kind of a treading water. He's put up some decent numbers, but he was leading the country in yards per game and all of that. And that's kind of slowed down a little bit. And I think it's obvious. Their run game is okay. They lost Dawson Pendergrass, who's like the grinder, the pounding guy, before the season started. Bryson Washington's really pretty good, 1,000-yard rusher last year, but he's been in and out. They got some young running backs that give him a little lift, but it all still falls on protecting Sawyer Robertson. And I'm not trying to, I'm not a Baylor alum. I didn't go to Baylor. I cover them. In fact, our show now has become as much more overall Big 12 than anything else. But I just don't think this team, barring Utah throwing up on themselves, has enough to make this a competitive game. If it is, it'll be a nice, first of all, Aranda needs to win. The program needs to win. But can they stop the run? I doubt it. Can they protect Sawyer Robertson from a defense that's playing at a really nice level? I think that's going to be a challenge. And all it takes with Baylor's offense and puts them on the backside is fall behind, and then if Sawyer gets pressured, throws a bad throw, a pick or whatever, and then next thing you know, you're down 14 or 17. That's been their MO. It has been. So this is a team in Utah that's hot. They kind of have their focus back. I'm not saying they didn't have it even a few weeks ago, despite a couple of losses. I just think this is Utah on a train headed downhill in a good way, and Baylor is scratching and clawing to try to stay above water.
It seems like they really do have to pressure the quarterback because it seems like matching up with all these wide receivers is difficult.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you love 2, 3, or 4 of them, but it's a big no. But actually, tight end Michael Trigg, who's on his third school, appears to be the most dangerous of them all, which is saying something.
Yeah, no, Michael Trigg has a really, really good chance of being drafted and playing on Sunday. He's that good. He made some catches against the UCF that were just phenomenal. He's got the body. He's got the size. His thing is just keep maturing, Michael. Just keep, every day, get up, smile, go to work. You have a chance to play on Sundays. He is a fantastic tight end, but he's also more than he's kind of got that hybrid, the tight ends that go down the seams. He makes catches in crazy ways. His body can twist and turn. He's a great tight end. I don't use that word very often, but as a college football player, he's among the best. Mackey Award, all that stuff that he's been a part of the watch list. The other receivers, they have a bunch of them, and they've all done something here at times, whether it's Hawkins or whether it's Wilson or whoever it might be. Cameron. I don't know if they've thrown the ball and gotten Josh Cameron enough involved. He's a big body. He's a possession receiver. He's a hell of a punt returner, too. So when he catches the ball in the perimeter, he has a chance to make somebody miss because he's used to doing that as a punt returner. I don't think they've gotten him nearly involved as they need to, and it could be because of what the defense is doing. They have weapons. I don't think the running game, they're averaging about what they did, but I don't think it's been as dynamic. And I think that's, again, because they've gone to a younger group, although Bryson Washington is the guy. And the offense has not been the problem. However, it was when they've lost. They're not the reason Baylor's at 5-4. They're probably the reason Baylor's at least 5-4 because of what they can bring to the table. But there have been a couple of games when it's been hit and miss. And now you've got this team in Utah that does all the things, as you guys said, that they do. So I'm intrigued. It's a 6 o'clock kick here. I'm intrigued. They've had a lot of that 11 o'clock games, which a lot of times when you're not very good, you get stuck at 11 o'clock. And sometimes you're on ESPN Plus. But I think this is going to be – here's one of the other things. The Baylor fan base is disconnected right now. They're frustrated. Last year, it was a nice finish to the year, even though they lost the bowl game to LSU. They're very disconnected between the athletic department, Aranda, the football team. This is a fan base that's very wishy-washy, and I don't even know. I would hope, for God's sakes, just as a Division I football school, that you have a nice crowd at the game on Saturday night. But guys, I'm promising you this: I don't know that. I got away from worrying about, hey, where is there? That doesn't affect me at all. I'm in the press box, but I don't know. I think Utah might give them a chance to get the juices flowing a little bit when it comes to the fan base. But I'm not sure they'll have 30,000 people there, and that's not because it's Utah. It's just because of the disconnect with the fan base. Everybody's bitching and moaning, excuse my language. Everybody's mad. They don't seem to be on the same page. Is it a blackout? Is it a whiteout? Is it what? Are they going to stripe it? They fight over things that are ridiculous rather than going to the game, getting loud, and getting focused on trying to help your football team win a game.
Since you speak of doing a Big 12-centric show, I'm going to ask you a Big 12 question, and we've seen Texas Tech take off, and a lot of it, you got to acknowledge, it's been the money. And so you could say, well, you know, they bought the best defense that they can get, blah, blah, blah. And you can go either way you want to go on this. But to me, if I wanted to pose it as a line of, okay, here's the standard financially, Big 12. It's not like Lubbock is a glamour spot or anything, but nevertheless, they got Cody Campbell. They went all in. They bought these guys, a lot of them this year, on just a one-year deal, and their defense is awesome, and they're probably going to win the conference and get in the playoff, and we'll see what they do. So with that in mind, has the standard been set now to where everybody in the conference, this is what it's going to take financially? And so the coaches can say, hey, if we don't do what they did, we're not going to get the results that they got. So in a sense, you could view it as a positive in terms of this is a standard. Are we willing to get in the ball game and play at that level or not?
I agree. And one of the things, you know, there's other teams that have spent a bucket load of money on their roster, but they're 4-4, 4-6, 5-4 right now. I listen, and we have a ton of Texas Tech fans that watch our podcast, our afternoon podcast every day, and really early on they got kind of overly sensitive. I thought, they're excited about. Well, you know, you bought your roster, okay. Well, that might have been going on in the SEC for 50 years. We don't know.
Of course.
So, but I tell you what. You can get the players in. You mentioned, why didn't Sawyer Robertson play right away last year? Well, that's because DeQuan Finn got a bunch of money to come in from Toledo, but that didn't work out. I mean, that didn't work out. You could tell pretty quickly. So you can get all the players, and you can get some guys that are fantastic, but you got to get the right guys, and you got to get the chemistry, and you got to get guys that are there. Yes, okay, no question, they're going to go to Tech or wherever because of the money. But they seem to have a great, and I know this word gets overused, especially if you're good or bad. They got a great culture. Everyone is there for a reason. Yes, they're getting paid. So is everybody else. But they didn't just go get 8 or 9 guys and overpay them. They got 8 or 9 guys that fit specific needs, and also all seem to be on the same page. Texas A&M, remember Jimbo Fisher had all those number 1 top-rated recruiting class, bunch of money back when NIL was starting to kick in. That team never amounted to anything. In fact, it blew up, and he's no longer there. So I think what Tech has done, I don't know if that's sustainable, but they have more than Cody Campbell. They've got like 5 or 6 billionaires that have kind of gone all in, along with whatever they do with their alumni base or whatever else. When you win, people spend money. When you win, people want to spend more money. And right now, they're in a really good place. I always thought that the Big 12, when Oklahoma and Texas left, even though Texas was hit and miss for a decade, I always thought that this opens the door. Who's going to step in and stay there? Not TCU 1 year, Baylor 1 year, whoever 1 year. Who's going to go in and open the door and stay there and become a resident of this is where we're at the top? Not just because there's a bunch of pretty good teams, but who's going to take it to the next level? There's no question. Utah, with what they did in the Pac-12, yes, last year was a disaster, but at least like they have signs that they're kind of back to who they want to be personality-wise. BYU, hey, no question what they're doing at BYU. I thought it would be Kansas State, Iowa State, maybe TCU, Baylor, when it's Texas Tech and a couple of others. And I think Texas Tech is here to stay. I don't think this is a one-off. I don't think this is TCU in 2022 or whatever that was. Baylor in 2021. I think they're here to stay. I think they have the formula. They have the backing. And now, especially since it's working, my goodness, they've got They got people who are probably wondering if they could. I'm not trying to. They have people who probably wonder if they're going to be able to pay their rent, who would put $100 or $500 or $1,000 to something, right? Because they're excited. 1996, the Big 12 started. Texas Tech has never won the Big 12 title. They've never played for the Big 12 title. That. You talk about thirsty. That's exactly. They're sick and tired of hearing about that, and that's why they have all this momentum. And yes, the guys who got involved with the money and the facilities and all that helped as well, but they also seem to be having the right players too.
David, we're a little over time here, but we got to sneak in one question. But I'll need a shorter answer on this. Houston's 8-2. They've got 2 Texas teams left, TCU and Baylor. Are they going to finish this 10-2 and end up possibly in a big tie for that second berth in the Big 12 title game? And do you think they can sustain this, or are they a one-off team?
I think Willie Fritz is a great football coach. He's built winners everywhere he's been. Do they finish 10-2? They have that bad loss to West Virginia, so that's in their pocket. And so I would think maybe they split the next 2. I don't know who they'll beat or not. But I think what they've done has been one of the fun stories along with Cincinnati in the Big 12. I think Willie Fritz wins, period. And I think Houston is a sleeping giant. And I'm not like Arizona State or whoever, but I do think that they are. I think this is going to be something where you'll see Willie Fritz win consistently.
David, we appreciate it. As always, thanks for bringing all the knowledge and all the energy.
Hey, guys, you guys are the best, man. Appreciate you, and I appreciate when I listen to your show, you guys do a great job, too.
All right, there is David Smoak. When we come back, Carter Chow, son of Norm Chow, and now an agent. And as he explains, if you're going to be an agent and represent NFL players, and he's accredited by the NFL Players Association, if you're going to get NFL players, you can't start talking to them in college because they've had an agent for years. So now even the NFL agents have to talk to high school kids because they got to start recruiting them there. And Carter's got some wild stories, some specific money numbers that might interest you. We'll get to all that coming up next. Stay with us right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Carter Chow, NFLPA certified contract advisor for Red Envelope Sports. Carter, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Well, thanks for coming on. We were just mulling over the story that BYU has signed a basketball player, and I know you're a football guy, but it just goes to how times are changing very quickly. They've signed a basketball player who's played in the G League for 2 years. And because he's played there for 2 years, he's going to come to BYU as a junior. I guess we're all just getting used to new rules, Carter.
Well, how about this one, guys? I'm working with an international player. He's a basketball player from New Zealand, played in one of the professional leagues there. He went through the international player program. The NFL has a program that they sponsor. They bring a number of international players to IMG. They prepare them for the draft. They go through the draft process. This player has been in an NFL minicamp. He was not signed, but he was in rookie camp with the Chargers last year and didn't sign with the NFL team. And now he is full NCAA eligibility, and he's actually coming next week on a couple of official visits. Maybe there to see the Cougars. He's going to be in Utah to see the Utes, and so times are definitely changing. It's the first time in my career I've represented a player or worked with a player that has been in an NFL camp and has college eligibility. So it's definitely an interesting time.
Yeah, that's where I saw this, Carter. I saw it on social media, and I know he's got. I think he's got visits set up with ASU and Utah, and I'll probably have more. And he has your name in his Twitter bio, or X bio.
Oh, okay. So we're talking about the same player.
Yeah, that's where I saw it, and I saw agent. I obviously we know your dad, Coach Norm Chow, and we've had him on the show many times. And I see Carter Chow know who that, and he puts your phone number, and it's a 213 area code, which is down there in LA. I used to live there, and so. Yeah, so I thought, well, we need to talk to Carter Chow as to how all these things work, because it blows our mind. And then we just find out here in the news that BYU is getting a kid who will have 2 years of eligibility, a big man, and he played 2 years in the G League. And it used to be, well, if you played professional, your college is done. Well, we don't understand it, and we thought maybe you can enlighten us as to how these things are happening.
Well, certainly the last couple of years has changed the landscape of college football with players being able to receive revenue share money and essentially get paid to play college athletics, right? The rules are still evolving. I mean, I talk to general managers and coaches every day, and one school will tell you something, another school will tell you something else. So I think a lot of these schools are still trying to figure things out as well, as are we. I think the better schools, the schools that are having more success are figuring out ways to continue to use their outside resources above and beyond the rev share cap to compensate players, and I think you'll see more of that moving forward post July 1, the House settlement. So this year is certainly I think a learning curve for a lot of people. Last year, schools had to. They really had to dump the money that they had kind of in their collectives. And so you saw a lot of players probably getting paid more than they otherwise would have, and they may have gotten more last year than they would get this year. So, but when it comes to the eligibility issue, again, I'm not sure how close you're following some of the JUCO rulings that have come out with the quarterback at Vanderbilt, but you're seeing players in college now 7 years, right. eight years. I saw a player that had an 8th year because he had a couple of injury years and COVID, and so it's very player specific, BK. So it would be hard to kind of justify one player over another. You'd have to know the situation, I guess, to be able to talk to their individual eligibility. But you're seeing a lot more mature players coming in that have experience doing other things, and I think you're going to see more and more of that moving forward as well.
The money is obviously a big deal in the agent world, and it's a little bit driven by the customer. Can you advise kids about, hey, you got to go somewhere where you can develop? Because no matter how good you are now, that's not going to be good enough going forward. I mean, you have to get better or you're going to get passed up. But the money is so big, do people just take the money and worry about the development later? Does development even factor in?
That's a great question. And for us, when we're advising our young guys, it's always about the football situation. Where are you going to get coached up? Where are you going to see the field, right? If you don't see the field, the money doesn't really matter because it's like any other business. If you don't produce, you're going to be out on your ear, right? And so we're always looking for the best football situation. Now, I'll tell you, a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, but often players and parents, they don't want to hear that. They're just chasing the dollar, right? So that's probably not the ideal client for me and my firm, but you're looking for that overall balance, right? Where are you going to get developed? Where are you going to have the best overall experience athletically, academically, socially, et cetera? So it's a little bit of a tricky balance now that the money is such a big factor, because back in the day, right? I mean, you're looking at kind of apples to apples, right? I mean, one school's going to have better facilities. They're probably going to have better snacks in the morning and maybe a better training table at night. But now you're not just talking the difference a couple $100,000. I mean, we've had the same player being offered $200,000 from a school and $750,000 from a school. Same player, right? It's not that School A likes him any less. It's just that their rev share now, their cap is probably lower than the other school that is offering him $750,000. So the money has to be part of the consideration. For us, it's not the end-all, be-all, because if a player does have the potential to play on Sundays, you need to get him to a place where he's going to be able to showcase his skills. And I think in the recruiting process, there are some schools that do a better job of that than others. Some schools are out there just throwing money around and they're basically buying players, right? The other schools, I think they're a little more sensitive to that, and they're trying to build something for the future. But I don't envy these college coaches. what Kalani and Kyle are able to do there. It's tough now because you look at a guy the wrong way, he's going to jump in the portal, right? The player's not playing, he's going to jump in the portal. It's a lot different than obviously when my dad was there at BYU for all those years. And you could coach, you could develop. You weren't worried about losing a player after 2 years. So especially the G5 schools, I mean, they're essentially becoming farm systems for the bigger P4 schools, and the coaches that embrace that and understand that, they're the ones that I think are finding success. The ones that are fighting against that are having a hard time, one, getting players to come to school, and then obviously they're having a hard time retaining them. So definitely an interesting world that we're living in right now, guys.
No question. We've been doing this a long time, and one of the things that sort of, I don't want to say blew me away, but just I thought it was just kind of sense when you're interviewing a college kid, and a lot of these kids are moving around 2 to 3 different places now, as you say, and he's talking about his agent, and that, my gosh, that was just sacrilege. I mean, no one would ever talk to that. Not to say that kids weren't getting money on the side back in those days, but it was never talked about. And then I hear a college kid talking about his agent, and then I literally see a businessman hand a player a check right in front of me, which, before that would have been at 2 a.m. behind the building, that type of thing, nobody would know about it. And now
it's a brown bag in a hotel room.
Right, exactly. And so now, because we're veterans, we knew this was going on, but you just roll with it. Now everything's out in the open. And my thought is, when you're in the agency business of representing someone, our kids, how does that come about with a college kid, or maybe even does it start in the high school days?
Well, that's a great question, and that's really why we've had to pivot to the college kind of recruiting, because we found for the top players the last couple of years, generally speaking, right, you talk to a player their sophomore year of college, their junior year of college about the NFL draft. You start recruiting them then as an NFL agent. Well, we're too late now. So some of the top players, hey, Carter, we like you, but we've had an agent since we came out of high school, right? So now we're talking to players that are younger and younger, essentially recruiting their parents, right? I mean, these are 15, 16-year-old players that, certainly aren't necessarily in a position to hire a professional to help them. But the sad part of what's happening in my business is, in order to represent NFL players, you have to be certified by the NFL Players Association, by the union, okay? I'm not a member of the union, but in order to represent their members, I have to be certified. I have to pay a fee. I have to pass tests, and there's some regulation. Well, on the high school and college side, anyone can be an NIL agent. They don't have to have any certification. They don't have to have any credentials. And so we're jumping into a space where players may say they have an agent, but I'd say that person may not have any experience negotiating contracts or dealing with GMs or college coaches. I could, if we had an hour, I could tell you guys some funny stories about talking to GMs about players and the calls that they're getting from so-called agents that probably don't have any business representing young kids, because they're really just looking at the dollars and to your point earlier, not really aware of the football situation. How's the player going to fit scheme-wise and all of that. So it's complicated things from a recruiting standpoint, just because the potential client's gotten younger and younger, and the marketplace is really saturated with NIL or marketing agents that it's a great opportunity for them to get into our business, but they're not able to take the player to the NFL or to the NBA or to the MLB because they don't have those credentials. So tough space to be working in, guys. I wish I was smart enough to do something else sometime. I tell all my Tempe buddies that it looks sexy from the outside, but on the inside, it's just like any other job. You're dealing with a lot of things that people don't see from the outside.
That's like a lot of other jobs, Carter. I got some TV stories. We'll trade stories sometimes.
Yeah, we'll do it.
And let me tell you, nothing's crazier than radio.
Sundays are a lot of fun when you're watching your guys out there, and really for me, college football has become exciting again since my dad is retired, and I followed the NFL a lot closer. But now that we have college clients, that's been fun. And I mean, even Friday nights, there's some really, really good players there in Utah now, putting out high level D1 talent, NFL talent. So that's been refreshing for me to be able to kind of get back in and reconnect with some of the local high school coaches there. Some of my former clients. I was out at Harriman High School a couple weeks ago. Austin Colley's helping out there, and it's just kind of fun to reconnect with some of the guys that are doing their stuff on the high school level as well.
Your dad happy the Dodgers won?
Oh man, we're all happy. So I'm based in LA now, and transplant Dodger fan. I get people give me a hard time all the time because we didn't grow up there, but it's been fun. I spent some time in Japan, and I'm a big Shohei and Yamamoto fan, so it was a cool run this year. I mean, look, how can you not love a Game 7 in the World Series, regardless of who you're cheering for? It was a great couple.
I believe you spent 2 years in Japan, if I remember.
I did. I spent 2 years there, and then my wife and I moved back for a year after we got married. So, hey, it's a special place, and we try and get back there as often as we can. But it's a pleasure talking to you guys. I obviously listen to you many times when I'm there, and obviously appreciate you having Dad on for those years. So if I can help with anything, and you got any other NIL or agency specific questions, maybe when the draft comes up, we can jump back on again and talk about some of the local guys there that are going to be playing on Sunday.
That'd be great. We'll look forward to it. And we won't criticize you for Dodger front running. I'm a Padre fan. I would do that at the drop of a hat. But even I recognize you grew up in Utah, so you're an MLB free agent. That may change in a few years with expansion, but you grew up an MLB free agent.
Yeah, I know. One of my partners is a Padre fan. We've got kind of a healthy banter going back and forth. But I tell them, we like to play baseball in October in LA. You guys, it's tough, being done in September. But I get it, man. It's how it is sometimes.
Your dad could never deny paternity. That's exact. That came right out of him. You got that from him, 100%.
Truth be told, he's a baseball guy. I mean, if he had his choice, he would have, he would have loved to have played. I mean, he was drafted by the Braves back in the day, and his father told him, "No, you gotta go to school." That's how he ended up in Utah. It was the only way that he could get his education paid for. But I haven't seen him as passionate about a sport in a long time. So it was fun to, I mean, one of those things you can do with your dad or your son or your daughter, right? I mean, my daughter's a bigger Dodger fan than I am, so.
There you go. Well, Carter, we appreciate the time. Maybe not all the cheap shots, but, I'll work on something. I'll get them on the game for the next time you're on. Find something negative to say.
I mean, not want to come back on, but love what you guys do. Wish you all the best. And, go Cougs, go Utes. Been a fun season for both teams this year. I was at that game in Provo a couple weeks ago. One of the best college football environments that I've been in a long time. So we're lucky for that. We got some good ball there in Utah.
There's Carter Chow, son of Norm Chow, and Carter now an agent in Los Angeles. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.